Yo, what's goody? Spare in the building. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Queen Talk. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, like button, and make sure you leave a comment. Let us know what you think of this episode. Today's special guest is an entrepreneur based out of Wichita, Kansas, owner of Traces of Flavor.
Hello, everybody. My name is Chareonski Gray, and I am the proud owner of Traces of Flavor. I am 33 years old, and I do identify as a black lesbian, and I am here in Wichita.
Ah, yes. So I feel like you and I have like a lot in common when it comes to like this entrepreneurial thing that we have going on. After like looking you up and like just seeing your background and things, this chef thing is recently new, right? Like,
Yes, since
yeah,
the pandemic.
yeah, like literally during the pandemic. And I want you to tell them the story. I like read about it, but just like the hustle mentality that you had during the time when the world was shut down, having to figure it out. Like, where did you start with the chef thing, and then like where are you now?
Okay, so I actually started with selling tacos out of my house in 2018, and then I decided to move to Arizona. So I moved to Arizona in October of 2019, and then of course the pandemic happened shortly after.
Hmm.
I was supposed to get a job, like just the regular thing. I was
Yeah.
going to get a job and do all these things, and the hiring process stopped because of COVID.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, what do I do? I'm like, I can't cater. Nobody's having any events. What do I do? Started journaling, which is what also inspired me to create journals and publish journals. But yeah, so one day I was writing in my journal, and I'm like, okay, what can I do? What am I gonna do? And the idea for spices came. So I started Traces of Flavor actually as a spice brand. It was not a catering brand.
Okay,
It was
okay.
spices. Yes, and I was shipping, like I had shipped over like 25 different states. And when the restrictions lifted, I started doing pop-up events selling my spices. But at the time, I was creating food content because I was trying to sell my spices.
Hmm.
So then people were like, "Oh, we see that you cook. Do you cater?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And so I started catering in the Phoenix area, Phoenix metro area, and selling plates, and it brought me back here, and that's
Yeah.
kind of where I'm at.
It always sounds easier when people just tell the story.
Yeah.
But like you literally started selling tacos when you were in Wichita though.
hmm
And then you abruptly moved to Arizona. Why did you move to Arizona?
So my ex-husband is an electrician, and he
Okay.
got offered a contract,
Okay.
and he didn't want to be away from the kids. And so I'm like, well, I don't really have anything keeping me here,
Except for
so
the business that you just started and that was popping.
yeah, other than that. But I'm like, I can transfer. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to change the scenery.
Yeah.
So we decided that we would just move our whole family to Arizona. So
Okay.
that's
So
all I did.
and so like I said, you were popping, then you moved to Arizona, and then you were like you said you were lost. What brought you to the point you said the journaling that like okay spices like that's what like you had like the entrepreneurial hustle and you were like okay it's shut down but what can I do next I can sell these spices like what made you think of that.
So, literally, I wrote down in my journal, I'm like, okay, I cannot sell food right now. So, if I can't cook for people, I can sell people the seasonings that I use to cook with, and then they can make it themselves.
Right.
So, that's what birthed the bangin' chicken and shrimp taco seasoning, which is the actual seasoning that I use, and then my recipe for my chicken. And then I just
You have a recipe book too, right?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a journal slash cookbook
Okay.
slash motivation book.
That's dope. Like I love that. Like when I read that I was like she figured it out. Like that's what you
Yeah.
have to do is like figure it out. So obviously you said ex-husband you're not with your husband anymore and you have kids too.
hmm
So you identify as lesbian now.
hmm
What transpired to get you to that point? Like,
Okay, so I have actually been a lesbian since I've been dating. So my first girlfriend, I was 16 years old.
Okay.
And so my family, I come from a very Christian background, and it just wasn't accepted. Like it is, like I couldn't tell them like, oh, I have a girlfriend. So when I was in college, I was actually openly gay in college.
At that Langston.
At Langston.
Hey, that'll do it. That'll do it.
Yeah. So, and then I don't know, like I was just like battling with my sexuality and my background, and my grandma and them, you need to get a husband, you need to get married, have some kids, and so I just kind of went with it because that's what the norm was. And so I was married. I do have 3 children from a previous marriage, and then after I got divorced, I was just like, you know what, like I have to live for me. Like I cannot do this anymore. Like I feel like I'm like dating women and I'm like hiding it, which is not fair to them either. And I was just like, you know what? One day I just made a Facebook post. I just told my whole family.
That's how you did it?
That's how I did it.
What did the Facebook post say? Do you remember?
So it was basically like, this is who I am. This is who I've been. I'm tired of hiding it. I didn't want to have individual conversations with everybody, so here it is. Yeah. There you go.
and how was the response to it?
It was, like some of like my cousins and stuff, they're just like, whatever, we don't care, my aunts and them, some of them are more open to it. Some of them are still kind of, working on it. My mom, I think she does the best that she can. Yeah. I think that it's new for her, and so I just kind of give her grace. And it's like,
what's
it's
the
not
best
gonna
that
change.
She can?
She's respectful.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, we've talked about this on the past on Queen Talk. It's just like giving our parents grace. How long has it been, though?
Since I came out openly, 3 years.
3 years. So it's been... Do you feel like you've seen progress within those 3 years, though?
So at first, I wasn't with anyone. So I think that she was just like, oh, she's gonna get with him.
It's a phase.
Yeah, but I'm like, even though which she told me that she knew like the whole time, but she just wanted me to tell her, and I'm like, well, you didn't create the space to. Yeah. But anyways, so when I got with my girlfriend, me and Gabrielle have been together for almost a whole year. We've known each other for a year, but our anniversary is actually October 13th. So when I got with her, I'm like, okay, like, all right, this is it. Like, this is serious. Right. Like, we are planning on being together forever. So this is kind of what I prepared you for. It's here now. And she was just, she's like, I just don't understand. I'm like, well, you don't have to. Right. I just need you to be respectful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so do you feel like your partner's comfortable being in that space, or?
We're working on it.
Okay.
So, yeah, not all the time. Yeah. But I have just shown her that we are together. I'm standing with you. No matter whatever they're going through, like if it's a situation where a family member isn't comfortable with the situation, neither one of us are coming. Good. Because I'm not going to put her in an environment where she's unsafe, and I'm not going to leave her either. Yeah. And so I just kind of had to put my foot down. Like if we're both not welcome, then none of us are coming. Yeah. None of us.
Yeah, I like that. And like, how has your kids been receptive to your new relationship?
They love her. Yeah. They're I had the conversation with them. You did have
them. What was that conversation like?
So I basically just set them down because I have a teenager. So my daughter's 13, my youngest daughter's 11, and my son is 5. Okay. Well, he doesn't care. But with my girls, I just set them down and I'm like, I'm dating a woman. How do you feel about that? And they were just like, we don't care. So I was like, oh, well, that was easy. Yeah. Yeah. And so she's been a part of their lives for a year now, and they love her.
That's good. So. That's good. And I love how you said, like, you just stand with your partner, even though, like, that's how you create that safe space for the both of you and for her. Because I think it can be difficult when, I don't know if her family's, like, okay with it, but, like, if one family's okay with it. So, like, you're comfortable in one space, but not the other. So it's just, like, brings this dynamic up where, like, I don't really want to go because I want to be a part of your family, but you got to make you feel
Exactly.
comfortable as well.
Yeah, and that is the situation. You know, her family loves me. They welcome me from day one. And so that's kind of what kind of makes me feel some type of way sometimes, because I'm like, I don't know that that space is as safe on my end. And so I don't know. We just kind of take it slow. But
Yeah.
this past weekend, she did actually come to one of my family functions, and
Okay.
everything was cool.
Yeah.
So,
So for someone dealing with a situation similar to yours, like what are like the steps that you have taken to either, I know you said like if you were not invited, don't come, but like before that or anything else to get to the point you are with your family to get her to go to that family function that she went to?
so I made her comfortable, and I made her understand that I'm not kidding. Like, I literally text my whole family in a
Okay.
group chat, and I'm like, hey, from this point moving forward, I need you guys to understand this is my partner. This is who I chose. This is who I love. If she is not welcome, I am not coming. And I was
Okay.
very adamant.
Okay.
And so, with me being able to be straightforward, it let her know, like, okay, like she's rocking with
Yeah.
me. Like,
Right.
we good.
Yeah.
So, for if I had to give anybody advice, I would say be honest and true to yourself always. And I know that that is not easy, because it took me to be 30 years old to be able to do it. But just, you have to know that this is your life. We get one. Everybody makes choices, everybody makes decisions for their lives, and they don't ask our permission.
Mm-hmm.
And so, who we choose to love and who we choose to be with, that is our business. And anybody that doesn't respect that, unfortunately, then there's no space for
Yeah.
them in our lives.
Yeah, and I feel like you're pretty bold because like when I first initially met you when we were at Juneteenth, and I was honestly nervous to set up a booth at Juneteenth, just like me not being comfortable enough. Obviously, I was comfortable enough, but I didn't feel comfortable enough to do it in that moment, just because of like the black community's thoughts of queer people. So like before that I had a few events. It was Pride Month. It just happened to be Pride Month. So like going up, just like I literally stopped everybody that walks by, like at Pride
Yeah.
Month, at the Pride events. But at Juneteenth it was different. Like I only saw people that I thought would be interested, you know?
Yeah.
So but you guys were interested, and you obviously don't mind being at in those spaces because it was you and your partner. Y'all both in there cooking, surfing.
Yeah.
So like, what got you to the point to be like, I'm bold, I'm in this space? Because like you're 30, so this is not old. Like this is fairly new for you too. So what made you to be like, okay, this is what it is. I'm out here in all spaces, not just my family, but just like in the community as well.
Well, first I had to get to know myself. I took about maybe 2 years, and I literally just, I journaled a lot, I prayed a lot, and I got to understand who I was, because I felt like I had to portray this persona. And I was a praise and worship leader for a decade. So, with that, and my responsibility in the church, I felt like I hid myself for so long, and I became what other people wanted me to be. And so, once I was able to look at myself and be like, okay, this is who I am, this is what I'm gonna be, like, and it is what it is. I think that I'm just like,
It all came with it.
It all came with it. Like the confidence and everything. Like I go everywhere with my partner and I'm happy. Hey y'all. And it's like, I don't care about the people that look. I don't care about the people that's there. She's the one that's like, oh babe, I'm like, I don't care. Come on. Hold my hand. So, I'm like, so yeah.
Yeah.
I think just get to know yourself and build the confidence.
Yeah, I think like seeing you there, it honestly made me feel more comfortable, like just in that space, because I'm a big person of just like representation matters, and just like seeing you guys there helped me and my partner just like, okay, there are more people, and not only that, just like what made me like, okay, you have to do this is because it needs to be seen.
Yeah.
Like there's younger kids. All those kids, like, they might not have like known it right now, but like we had candy. Like there was so many kids that came by and just like seen, okay, we're there. So just to give that representation, I'm always big for representation matters.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because a big turning point for me was when I discovered Lena Waithe.
Oh my god!
And and
I love
20s, her show. Have you watched 20s?
Yes, yeah.
And it was like during that time when I was kind of like going through this battle in my mind, like, okay, what do I do? How do I, how do I even present myself as a queer person to the world? I was married to a man. I got kids. You know how they feel about that.
Yeah.
And so I watched her shows and I started looking her up. And just seeing how confident and how bold and how supportive she is of the queer community, I'm just like, okay, there is representation out there.
Yeah.
And that was,
And every one of her shows, she just normalizes it. Like,
very much.
It's in there. Like, if you're gonna watch something that she directed or produced, it's gonna be a part of it. And one day she's gonna be on Queen Talk.
Manifest it, because I'm literally manifesting working with her. She follows me on Instagram.
Okay, nice.
And so, she knows it. But I've hit her up. Like, I'm like, I want to host a 20s watch party. If you see this, I want to host a 20s watch party. But I'm like, I'm not shy. Like, I hit her up. I'll be like, hey, so.
That's one thing, too. Like, I've personally, like, I am like a pretty shy person. Like before Queen Talk, I'm not so much anymore. But like before Queen Talk, like anybody, I am. Like I don't really talk to anybody like in public or anything like that. But now I'm on a mission. Like I got stuff to say. Like it's all about Queen Talk. Normally, like anything else of that, I'm not. I'm still like pretty introverted. But when it comes to this, I'm out there and I will slide in the DMs too. I've learned that from doing this. You got to. You got to.
And the most they can say is no or ignore it. That's it. It's like we be so scared of what.
Exactly. And because you never know if you don't. If you don't try it, you'll never know. You'll never know. But you mentioned like you were the praise and worship leader for your church. How have you navigated your relationship with religion now that you've came out?
So I'm not religious. I will say that. I'm spiritual. I do pray still. I do believe in God. I'm still trying to figure out what that means for me, what my spirituality means for me. I don't attend church regularly anymore. Sometimes I'll go, but really just because I miss praise and worship. But I don't know. Like
so what's holding you back from going to a church and being part of a praise and worship team?
I just don't know that I stand for what they stand for. So I just kind of do my own thing. I guess that's the safest way to say that.
Yeah.
But so it's nothing stopping me. Like, I don't feel ashamed or anything like that. It's just that I'm trying to align my beliefs and making sure that the things that I do align with my beliefs.
Yeah. Have you tried to like go to a church since like coming out or anything like that, or?
I attended church some in Phoenix. Sometimes I go. I mean, I've been invited places. I've come. Like I have friends that like preach. They invite me to something. I'll come. Okay. So it's. And actually I did. My daughter, she wanted to get baptized. She goes to church with my mom.
Okay.
So me and my partner, we went and saw her get baptized. So it's not like I'm like, oh no, church. It's just not really a part of my life anymore.
Just different, but you still have that relationship with God in your own way. That's good. How has your mom like felt a way, or has your relationship changed since doing that, or?
Since what?
Since you have distanced yourself from the church and stuff like that, who you see like?
Well, not really, because my mom had even kind of went through a time where she wasn't really going. Like, of course, she was still like worshiping online or whatever. Yeah. But I think that my mom knows by now, like, I'm a very free spirit and I'm going to navigate life however I see fit. And I think that she's just kind of coming to terms with it. So she's just like, whatever, she'll figure it out.
And what about like your relationship with your ex-husband? Like, did you have a conversation with him like, look, I'm a lesbian now or anything like that? Or did you feel the need to tell him that?
He already knew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he already knew. But as far as now, like we have a great relationship. Like him and my partner, like they get along great. He was literally just here because my kids spend the summers with him in Arizona.
Okay.
And everybody gets along when he comes, like for their events or stuff or whatever. We're just like one big family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Being here, so versus Arizona, why'd you come back to Wichita?
Family.
Family, you want to come back?
I'm an only child, and
Aw.
I'm an only child, and my grandfather passed away 2 years ago, and so my mom, she was just kind of by herself. She was missing her grandkids and stuff, and then I really just kind of needed a fresh start. Like I was still in the vicinity of my ex-husband, and our relationship was not what it is now then. And so I was just like, I need to get away and just kind of get my grounding, get my mind together, figure out what I want to do, and then I will more than likely go back, or probably to LA. I love LA.
Hey.
I want to move to LA. So
I love LA. You just came back. It was your partner's. How was it for you?
It was great.
Yeah,
it was great.
I lived in LA for a year, and I was sad when we came back, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll make our way back that way.
Yeah.
But I've like come to the terms with it. Like Wichita is the base for at least a few years now, especially while this is like coming in, expanding. Like I'm just trying to get. I got to plant somewhere to grow.
Exactly.
So, that's just what I've come to terms with lately.
Yeah, same here. Like I was so against it. Like for one, I was ashamed. Like, oh, I have to move back. But excuse me. After a while, like I've really just come to terms. Like I had to get grounded somewhere. I have family here. I have a support system here. When it's time for me to fly, I will.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I'm building my business. I'm building my brands, and we'll see.
Yeah. And you spoke about the business. What do you do now with the Traces of Flavor? Like I see you pop up. If someone wanted to book you, like what does that look like? You do the catering, you do the private chef.
Yes, so I do meal prep, I do private chef services, I do catering, and then when I'm available, I do still sell plates. Like, but I'm at a kitchen now, so you can't sit down and eat, but you can't come and pick it up. And then
you in the kitchen now?
Yes.
Okay, congratulations.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yes.
Hey, elevating.
Yes.
Elevating.
So yeah, Traces of Flavor is not a home-based business anymore. It is a licensed food establishment in the state of Kansas.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I do it all. If you want to book catering, you can visit my website, tracesofflavor.com. Click on the catering tab. If you're having an event and you want, like if you want me to come and just kind of like sell food, I used to didn't charge, but now you got to book me because it's the time and the preparation.
You got to book me.
Today's
price is not yesterday. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Yes, it is not. It is not. It is not.
That's good though. That's really good. You've also been like a hairstylist. You got your you got your license in cosmetology school, and you also do makeup, right? Is that still a thing that you're doing while doing this, or is that just like?
No, I'm retired. I tell people I'm retired.
You're retired?
Yes. So I got my cosmetology license back in 2012. And so I worked in a salon and everything, and then I was just kind of like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not passionate about it. So I just completely switched lanes.
Yeah, I think that's again the entrepreneurial mindset. Like you got to try it, figure it out. If you don't like it, you got to do the next thing. But I've seen that you were. So if I ever needed my hair braided, you're not the girl.
Well, I mean, sometimes like I literally just did Gabrielle's hair before we went out of town.
She got it in house.
I know.
Ain't no better than that in house.
So most of the time she does go get it done, but we were going out of town. She didn't have time, so I did it. But I'm like, I'll sometimes. Sometimes.
But most of your focus is just on the food now and stuff like that. What do you foresee yourself next? Like, what's the next level of Traces of Flavor?
Ooh, so eventually I do want a restaurant. That's the main goal. I don't know how I'm gonna get there. Like I had a conversation with myself and God the other day. I'm like, look, you know what I want, okay? Yeah. You know the final destination.
Right.
help me get there. I'm like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, I know that I do want to produce more journals. I'm writing a book. I'm in the process of writing a book just about my life and everything. I want to start taking speaking engagements and just talking about my story because I feel like I really do have a very unique story that can help people that may need the representation or may be afraid and need to see it. So I'm trying to get out of my shell. Like, if you see, I'm creating content more and just kind of trying to put myself out there. And so I'm like, wherever that goes. But I have so many goals, like even
that.
bigger than food. I'm like, I want to write TV shows, like so many things. That's why I need to work with Lena. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I've seen it. You mentioned just like the representation needed, and that's why you want to just like be out there and be seen. For you personally, what have you seen besides Lena, the representation like of a black woman? Like, what is your representation that you really seen? I know we've talked about in the past of just like on Queen Talk, people, the black woman in representation that gets seen as like just like the ghetto, just like growing up. Like, what has your representation of that you've seen?
Well, my mother is a very strong black woman. She raised me by herself. I do not have a relationship with my father at all, even though they were married for 12 years. So my mom, she hustled. She sold Mary Kay. She sold insurance. She did all of these things, to make sure that I had a good life. And so, regardless of our differences, and this is why I tell her all the time, we don't have to agree on everything. It's okay. Like, it really is okay for us to agree to disagree. But, I respect my mother. I love my mother. I know that she is a product of her environment. And, she grew up in the 50s, and it just wasn't happening back then. So, that, and then really just my peers, I guess, like, I don't know. Like, I didn't really have a lot of, actually nobody in my family is other than my mom, like doing those different things as an entrepreneur or owns a business or anything. So it's really just me, just trying to find my way and figuring things out. Like,
By
really,
yourself.
by myself, literally.
Yeah.
So.
What about like the queer representation? Like, do you feel like you've seen a lot of queer, black, or just people of color representation like growing up? And
No, not really. Um, no. I think that the ones that I did see, they were like closeted lesbians. Like, they had a roommate for 20 years, but that was their friend. Yeah. But like, as far as openly, no. And I think that that's why it was so like taboo. Like, I didn't know, like, what do I do? Like, how do I tell them? Like, how do I navigate this? So.
Yeah. What, and you mentioned like earlier that your mom, she didn't make it a safe space for you to be open and be yourself. What would a safe space look like for you to have been okay and been comfortable enough to tell your mom?
So, my mother, she wanted the best for me, like any other woman. And so, because I'm very free spirited and I'm kind of just like go with the wind, I think that my mom had this expectation of perfection that I just could not live up to, and so it was. I felt like we always went back and forth about stuff, like whether it was my hair or the way that I dressed or the people that I hung out with or the things that I chose to do. I felt like she nitpicked me. And so whenever there was something that I wanted to talk to her about, I didn't feel like I could because I felt like she would judge me or she wouldn't be open to receive it. And so I just kind of kept a lot of things to myself. Like even now, like I'm trying to get out of that. And I was actually watching a podcast and they were talking about the how young black girls, how they seek the acceptance of their mothers. And that's kind of like, you can be really big in the world, But then when it comes to your mom, it's like you turn into a little girl again because you want that acceptance and you want them to love you for who you are. And sometimes it's just difficult.
Just sometimes it just ain't enough for them.
Yeah.
How do you feel like it is now for you in Wichita with your partner? Do you feel like comfortable with her going around and stuff like that? Like, I know we mentioned Juneteenth, but just like in all spaces, or is there certain spaces that you feel more comfortable and don't?
Honestly, I do not care.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. Like, I just recently was at the Definers dinner for a Create campaign. Like, anything that I do, she's coming. Like, whatever it is. You know,
Yeah.
like, I'm nominated for the Black Eye ICT Awards. She's going to be there.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm so comfortable with her that when we are places, like, I don't even worry about anybody else because she's my safe space. So
That's good. And you're the only sibling. So like, do you have like aunts and uncles that, or are you a pretty small family?
no, my family is huge. My
It's huge.
immediate family is small. Like my mom has 3 brothers and sisters, but my grandfather had 13 brothers and sisters, and my grandmother had 15 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
So I have a lot of aunts and uncles and great aunts and cousins, and so one of my cousins is also an only child. So we kind of grew up like sisters. But
Do you
yeah.
see like queer people in your family, or do you feel like you're the only one?
I had an uncle, but he passed away from HIV when I was a teenager. I have like a gay cousin, a boy, and I mean that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Well, no, I take that back. My uncle's daughter was a lesbian, and
Okay.
she was openly a lesbian with her wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just asked because like I know once I personally came out the closet, a lot of people like in my family like felt comfortable to do so because they're like, oh, they still accept her. When I so I just didn't know if it was the same for you, especially having that many, that big of a family. You would think.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I can't speak on certain things just yet because they have to do that.
Oh yeah,
But,
yeah.
but I
Okay.
feel like,
Yeah, I got you.
But I definitely took one for the team. I'll say that.
That's nice.
That's the best way I
That's-
can say it.
That's nice.
Yeah,
That's
because
good.
it will definitely make it easier for them.
I wanted to just like, I didn't really speak enough on just like your growth of Traces of Flavor. Like you made it seem, like I said earlier, just it sounds so much easier than when you just tell the story.
Yeah.
When you started and you were shipping out boxes, I read they were breaking. Like
Yes.
your boxes were breaking, and then it was just like another transition that you had to figure out with the seasonings. And then not only that, like someone had just like asked you about like the no salt thing, and then you're like, I'm gonna figure it out. Like let's do a version of the no sodium.
Yeah.
Like what like what got you? I don't know. Like even what I'm trying to ask, it's just like, where do you find the hustle? Like where do you find the hustle?
It just happens. I'm serious. Like it's just like a switch in my brain. Like I get an idea, and if I feel like it's a good idea, I just do it.
Yeah.
And like honestly, like
Yeah.
even like you mentioned with the spices, it was somebody just sent, like on your website how they can send an inquiry.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Hey, I can't have salt, because I have diabetes." And I was like, "Don't you worry. I will make a seasoning for that." And I did. And honestly, that's like one of my top sellers. I didn't realize that so many people, don't utilize salt. And so, I don't know. Like, even I am partnering with Juice 101 with Candy
Okay,
Be
nice.
Juicing. And I was just sitting on my couch one day and I'm like, it would be a really good idea for us to partner because she does juice and I do meal prep, and then they can have a juice. And you know what? I'm just text her.
Yeah.
And so it really just comes.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have so many ideas that I don't even really act on all the time because I don't have time. But the way that my mind it just does it.
Yeah. I think it's like just taking the action. Like once you
Mm-hmm.
have the idea, a lot of people just sit on it. Like and like man, and then like years later, man, I used to think like I thought of that a long time ago and I didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're still thinking about this old idea that you had that if you would have started a year
Yeah.
ago when you were talking about it, the growth that it would be.
Yeah.
And that's what I did with Queen Talk. I was like, all right, I'm not just going to talk about it anymore. Like I had this idea in my head, no lie, for 4 years. I got
Yeah.
this tattoo 4 or 5 years ago, and that's when I first thought of it.
Yeah.
But I don't ever put nothing on my body. This is like this right here. Like I knew like this is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And when the podcast started coming around, I was like, okay, that's it. And then as you can see, like we doing with what we can, what we got, and it's gonna grow too. But I like you and like the mindset that you have is just like so common of just like figuring it out. And I don't have any representation in my family as well, of just like the entrepreneurial aspect of it. So it's just like figuring it out all on my own and navigating it. It can be hard, and there's a lot of bumps in the road. It makes you want to stop sometimes and just go get that 9 to 5 and go with the rat race. And then I'm quickly reminded.
Yeah, and honestly, like, and I'm still very, very guilty of this, but thinking that something has to be perfect immediately.
Yes.
You know, because I've got that bad. I'm like, nope, if it's not perfect, I'm not doing it, you know. But you just got to start.
Yeah.
Like, if you just start, you can perfect it later. You know, work with what you got. You know, like, a lot of people, you know, they go out, they get an idea, and then they go out and they spend all this money, and then it's like, now you've got all this stuff, and you don't even know what to do with it, really. Yeah. And so it's like you have to learn how to start where you are. Give yourself grace always, because you cannot compare yourself, you know, year one to somebody who's been creating content for 6-7 years. You know, like everybody has to start somewhere. And I was watching another podcast, and this guy was saying, he was like, in order for you to make good content, you first have to make bad content.
Yeah.
And what better time than right now when nobody's really watching?
Yeah.
So just do it.
Yeah. Especially when I was watching. Yeah, that's a really good point. I remember my first one. It wasn't in this room, but like if you go back to the first episode, it's just like the dark blue curtains in the back, and like I like even this setup. I'm not like 100% set on it, but like in my mind, I know what the setup's gonna be.
Right.
But like you said, I just start with what you have and what you have right now, and a lot of people just don't do that. They just, like you said, they'll go out there and buy all of that equipment, maybe have one episode and be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it's not really what they wanted.
Yeah.
When it comes to like what you are an inspiration for, like your daughters, like you and son, you have generations underneath you. What do you show them and to do what you do?
Well, number one, I'm very honest with them. You know, my oldest, she says I don't have no filter and I'm too honest. But I'm like, whatever, you need to know. I'm like, this is the real world, okay? You know, but I show them, you know, my goal is to show them that they can do whatever they want to do. And I talk to them about it. And, you know, like even they've watched my journey. Like they've seen me packaging boxes and having stuff break and doing this and doing that. And then, you know, I just show them. I'm like, look, it's hard work, but you can do whatever you want to do. It's not always going to be easy. Like I tell my kids, I'm like, remember when we was broke? Like I'm for real, because like they need to know it. And I'm just like, look, what better way for, you know, you to learn than from me? Yeah. And so I just try to encourage them to be themselves within reason. You know, these kids these days, Lord have mercy. But, you know, I try to encourage them to be themselves age appropriately. I encourage them to be honest and talk to me, and just hopefully I want them to know that this is a safe space and that they don't have to go outside of our home for anything, whether it be advice, whether it be ideas, like eventually, like I don't want my kids to start out with nothing.
Yeah,
Like I want to
right.
be able to give them money. Like, okay, what you want to do?
I hear that.
Like I want to be their first investors.
Yeah.
And so everything that I do right now is the future is right here. So it's like even when I accomplish small things, like I find myself not even celebrating because I'm like, all right, check box. All right, now I gotta keep going. Next thing. And so I'm really trying to like live in the moment, but also be very future driven because I know what I want to do.
Yes. Hey, I relate to that so much. There's so much because like, yeah, it's celebrating those small wins. Like I need to do that a lot more.
Yeah.
I'm very hard on myself. Like I am my worst critic for sure. And I'm working on that. Like I'm working on that. And after this podcast, we're gonna talk a little bit more because I got ideas.
Okay.
I got ideas. But I agree with that a lot. Like I feel like once you have like this baby and you see so much growth that you want it to be, my mind also just like goes to like 5,000 different places of like where I can start, but literally just planning it down like okay and just elevating and like I'm just checking off the boxes too, but I'm trying to just sit in the moment too. It's hard to do though, because I want to be where I want to be, and even I feel like when I get there I might not even celebrate. I'll be like okay, well, what's next?
You know what? I promise you, because I try to meditate in the mornings, and I was literally thinking that this morning. I'm like, I wonder if I'm gonna like get there and then like not even be happy because then I'm gonna want something else. And so it comes with the territory, but I mean, I don't know because even right now, like I've been a full-time entrepreneur for almost 2 years by accident because I got laid off. I was a project coordinator. Yes. And I was like, all right, well, I don't have time to sit around. I've got 3 kids. I've got bills to pay. Plates. I'm like, all right, 3, 4, 5 days a week I'm selling plates. Let me start, putting myself back out there with the catering. And I literally just hit the ground running. Like, because I'm like, my bills, my life depends on this.
Yes.
And so.
That changed too when you depend on it.
Yeah. And so even sitting here now, like, I never thought that I would be able to financially provide for myself as an entrepreneur. Like we were in LA and we stayed in Santa Monica on the pier. That hotel was not cheap.
Yeah.
And so,
treat yourself.
Man, like I found myself just like, God, like I thank you. Like I remember when I would not be able to stay here because I couldn't even remotely afford it. And I had a job. And so I'm like, I'm just grateful. I honestly am just grateful for where I am. I'm grateful for where I'm going, and
congratulations on everything, though.
Thank you.
Like you got a kitchen now. Like that's definitely something to celebrate.
Yeah.
Like getting out of the house and being able to transition to that. Like that's a huge step. So you're on your way, and I'm glad I met you on the come up. I'm glad I met you on the come up. It's different. It's different when we meet on the come up, and both of us are just like early.
And that's exciting.
Yeah.
Because then you get to grow and you get to watch the progress. Yes. And honestly, I feel like that's like a blessing too. Just to be able to see like from where somebody started, especially when y'all are kind of like starting together and just growing. And then it's like, because I remember when. Because it's like, you're going to get there and then I'm going to come back.
Yes, and then, yes. I know that's right. That's right.
So, I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, what would you tell someone that is getting started in their entrepreneurial journey? Like, what would you tell someone in the audience?
So the first thing I would say is write everything down. Get a journal. I'm so serious. I am a huge advocate for journaling because it has helped me so much. It allows you to track your progress. When you write down your goals, you can look back 6 months and be like, oh, okay, I did that. Ooh, I didn't do that. Maybe I need to refocus. But get a journal, write everything down. Quiet the noise in your mind that tells you that you cannot do it because there are people walking around every day that is proof that you can. every idea that you have may not go the way that you thought it was gonna go, but that is not failure. Pivot. You know, like as an entrepreneur, we are constantly pivoting. Times are changing. The economy is changing. Life is changing. So just don't be afraid. Like go after it. And I know it is easier said than done, but you will regret if you don't. I say that. I tell everybody, like, you will regret it if you don't. And I would rather leave this earth empty than with a whole bunch of regrets. Like, I don't care if I have to try 20, 30 different things and they don't work. I would rather that than to die and be like, or, you know, close to death and look back at my life and be like, I didn't do anything that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I would die of heartbreak.
Yeah. Or that was always my dream. When the dream could have became a reality.
Exactly. So yeah.
Thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. I really appreciate it. You are the queen of pivot. Like pivot, like literally, like the whole story. Like you've had to pivot and transition and figure it out, and you're continuing to do so, and it's paying off. Like you see the growth. If you just stay down, it can work out. So I just appreciate you, your story, your entrepreneurship. Like I like, yeah.
Thank you.
We gonna be friends.
Yeah. Period.
Yes.
And I need gay friends. I don't have any gay friends.
You don't have no gay. Like this is why I started Queen Talk. Like the representation. Like when I seen you guys, I was like, me and my partner, we need more queer people of color to hang out with. But not only that, like I'm in a space where I don't just want friends. I need friends like you. Like you're growing something, I'm growing something, our minds are different. It's not just like when we hang out, the conversations are different.
Exactly.
It's not gossip. Like I literally am, that's what I'm searching for. So yeah, we gonna make some moves. Hey.
Dinner or something.
Yes, for sure. But yeah, thank you again. So is there anything coming up that we can be invited to, get tickets to, anything like that?
Yes. So I'm co-hosting an event with Lola Candle Company. Well, they're hosting an event. I'm catering the food. But it is October 19th at 6 p.m. And I'm going to read this because I want to make sure I get it right. All right. So on October 19th at 6 p.m., we are having an event at Lola Candle Company, a Halloween sip and pour called Potions. So tickets include custom candle and roll-on perfume, cologne making, a catered dinner by myself. I will also be doing desserts, which I never do desserts.
Oh, you don't?
No. But I'm going to be doing desserts. It's not that I don't know how, it's just that I don't. So yes, I will be doing desserts. We will have drinks, and it is a spooktacular event full of fun, and you can reserve your seats at lolacandleco.com.
Okay.
Lola Candle Co.
All right, I'll make sure that's in the description as well. And what's the ticket on that?
I believe it's $85.
Okay, it comes with all that?
Yes.
Okay,
Let me double check. But I believe it's $85. But honestly, that is a really good deal.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna make your own candle and you're gonna make your own. Yeah, they are. And the Lola, have you ever been to Lola Candle?
They do pop-ups at the market.
Yes.
So yeah, I've got a candle from. I think
Great
that's what
candles.
that is.
Oh yeah, it is. Yes. So Lola Candle is amazing. Their scents are great. They have the wood candles, so they burn evenly. They are paraben free and all of the other chemicals. They're free of those. But yeah, really good candles. You're gonna make your own. You're also gonna make your own perfume, your own potion.
That's dope.
So
I
that's
love
really
the
cool.
name. I love it. And is it dress up? Like you can dress
yes,
okay.
you can wear costumes are encouraged but not required. Okay. So yes.
Oh, nice. Well, if you guys are interested in that, that link will be below. But Yeah.
Oh,
All right. Alrighty. Is there anything else that you have going on coming up?
Yes, I will be at the Foodie Fair on September 21st, hosted at Mark Arts. So there will be 20 local food vendors, and people can basically come out and just like sample the food from the different vendors and just kind of get an idea of what we all do. So if you want to book catering or anything like that, that is an opportunity to come and try my food.
All right. What would you say your best dish is?
Man, so I don't know because I cook so many things, but the thing that's been in most high demand is my shrimp and grits.
Shrimp and grits.
My
Huh?
shrimp and grits, and the craziest thing is I had never even had shrimp and grits
Really?
until the first time I made them. I swear.
Wow.
I swear. I swear. Because I don't like grits. Well, I do now.
Yeah.
But no, I was like, that is so nasty.
Yeah.
Like, why would
I've never
you
had
wanna...
shrimp and grits because I'm
I'll
not a
have to make
shrimp
you
person.
some.
I'm not a shrimp person. Like
Well, I
I
can
love
make you
grits.
shrimp and grits without the shrimp on top. Because it has bacon and sausage and all that stuff in it, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All
my
right.
shrimp and grits, I heard that they be popping. I mean, I think they good, but people like fall in love with them. So
All right.
yeah,
We gonna get some of them shrimp and grits sometimes. Well, thank you again for coming in and being a part of this podcast. Is there anything that you would like to leave the audience with today?
follow your dreams. No,
For real though.
No, but for real though, for real, follow your dreams. Be intentional about the life that you want. Don't ever get caught up in what life looks like right now because you literally have the power to change it. You can create the type of life that you want. You just have to believe in yourself for real. Follow your dreams and just stay down for the come up and just know that if you believe it, then you can achieve it.
Hey. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you again. Thank you again. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Queen Talk. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And check the link below. Her website will be down there. If you would like to book her, just click the link below. Her socials will be down there as well.
Follow me.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, but make sure you guys hit that like button, comment, let her know what you think of this episode. And as always, family, friends, strangers, love. Be nice. Be nice.